The spate of killings for ritual purposes is assuming an alarming rate in Nigeria with little or no effort to checkmate the trend. There has been an increase in the number of missing persons all over the country, bodies found with vital organs missing, or the arrest of the perpetrators while in the act. These ritualists hide under different covers to get their victims. For some, they kidnap their victims from various points. Others pretend to be commercial drivers. And recently, the young boys who lure their lovers to unsuspecting locations to kill them. Ritualism and the quest for wealth has been a trend among young boys in Nigeria today. And on today's live, we shall be discussing this. The topic is money hunting, and the subtopic which we shall be focusing is the spate of killings for rituals, because money hunting is a broad topic. So we have subtopic we shall be taking gradually so that people will understand and have the knowledge of what it involves. My name is Joyce, and I have Sele in the studio today.
Thank you, Joyce. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Even though not okay.
Okay, why not?
Possibly just because of what we're talking about.
It's so sad. It's so sad that we've been having so many of these issues. It's like every day we wake up to the same news, but different strategy, or the same strategy, the same news, the same strategy, different location, different people. It's so alarming and it's so sad that this is because, and I fear that with time this will be normalized in the country. With time, ritual killings will be normalized. It will even be part of the daily life, because every day you hear stories like this, and you'll be wondering, who are these people doing it? Sele, young boys of 17, 18, and 20. This, at that age, I think we were, that's like a teenage age, 17. Is still a teenager. 18 is still a teenager. 19, you know, you are still a teenager at that age. And I think back then, the things that excite us most when you're at that age is going to school, playing some games, having to attend some, maybe do some quiz, debates, something
that will just make you to be intellectually
sound. Most of the things, and even when you are talking about being at home, I don't think television too was part of the excitement. But at least playing games, you know, there was part of the excitement. But now we have young people, young boys, killing people for money rituals to gain that, for that quest, you know, to be wealthy.
You know, Joyce, is quite, just like you said, it's very alarming and it's very sad, because I remember when I was at that age, all I was interested was my mates are in school. If I have not gotten admission, I want to start the stop. Okay, JAM is on registration. WAEC, they started in case you didn't get all your papers. This was what was on my mind. But I think the rate at which things are getting higher, will I say that it's as a result of pressure? Because I think peer pressure is one of the things that I think is really making people, or even though it's not a reason or it's not justifiable, but I think it's the reason where the pressure doesn't just come from your peers. It's alarming that it's even coming from your parents, because you know, the moment your mom or your dad tend to see that this neighbor or this friend of mine, look at what her son, he bought her a car, he's using this phone, you know, and you're like, look at you, what are you doing? All you're interested is eating food,
But at 17?
At 17, you'll be surprised, Joy. Some parents are actually that pushy on their words, because I think you don't allow your words to grow at their pace. And I always have a problem because we don't allow people to move on their timeline. When I get the opportunity in a chat or when I'm with people, I say, people, you need to work on your timeline, because at 17, yes, this person will have gotten the admission, you have not gotten, but then what can you use your time and your strength to do as of that time? The other skills you can get yourself involved in to learn, but you'll be surprised that people are just after the quest that I just want to make this thing now. If not now, you think as if tomorrow is not coming anymore. So I think we need to encourage the fact that everybody has his timeline. You can't keep moving no matter the pressure that is coming, because even when you check even the social media, sometimes you just go on social media and then you see lots of flashy cars, your mates that you've graduated together with, they are riding this fine car, having these luxurious things, and you want to get that at that time, not waiting. Because I remember there was a time Tony Kali said that we always want the beauty of the luxury, forgetting the pressure. You can't get things. I mean, money don't fall from heaven. You need to work out things.
Very true.
So you need to sit down and be determined and be hardworking. And I think that's what youths of nowadays, where we don't want to work hard. I think that's a problem.
And so, as a denomination, we stand to condemn these ritual acts. And just to let us know that we are also on Facebook at Equa Television. You can send in your comments, you can send in your contribution, and we will take it live on the show. And just like I said, we are also on YouTube. In case you're watching us from YouTube, you can send in your comments there. This situation is unbecoming in Nigeria. It's rampant. It's a trend among even the young people, among even just everybody. The age gap, the age group is alarming from 17, 18 and 19. And like I said, as a denomination, we are lending our voice to condemn this act, that it's not proper, and we are tired of hearing about it. And we believe that at the end of the show, we shall discuss the causes, the effect, and even recommendation for people to understand and have the information on what they need to do, because most times people don't report this act. Even when they report it, there are sentiments attached to it. They feel, okay, there are no proper judgments for this particular thing, or if the person is from a wealthy background, you know, at the end of the day, he'll be out of the whatever punishment it is. But before we go on, I would like to read a Bible verse which says in 1 Timothy 6:10, it says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." This is very deep, and I think it's timely. It can be related to what we are discussing. It's related to what is happening in our society today. The love of money, you know, is making a lot of people to even harm themselves, to even bring sorrows to themselves. And you'll be wondering, why do we have this situation now? Why do we have this situation as a trend in Nigeria? What do you think is the problem? For me, number one, I think is the collapse in our moral values. Just like we said back then, say an example, where you lend maybe your schoolmates or your friends clothing, you know, you like it and you want to wear it. Do you know you even hide it to do it? You don't even allow your parents to see,
because questions will come, you know,
who is this for? Even if we know the family, we even know her as your friend, this is not unacceptable. I think parents didn't used to allow us, you know, some level of freedom. Let me call it freedom, because I think that's what young people now think, that they have the liberty to do every other thing. Your child will come up, your child that is a teenager will come back home with an iPhone, with an expensive phone, or he will come back home with different friends, and it's so funny that parents don't even question. They don't even know the background of this friend that is visiting. They don't even know what the friend is about. They don't know if the friend is in school or out of school. They don't even know anything about this friend, and you allow your own child, you know, to mingle with this certain person. Even at that age, then is he what is it called, your children, you know, wearing the most expensive clothing, and you know that you are not the one that bought it for them. These are the questions that parents used to ask us back then. Even if they were not able to provide for us, we couldn't provide for ourselves. How will you even provide for yourself? You don't have a job. It's not like you have a trust fund, you know, that is sponsoring that type of lifestyle, you know, but nowadays you don't see that anymore.
I know another thing, Joyce, I think another thing that is responsible is greed. You know, when you are never contented with what you have, you want to go to extreme to get it. And just like the Bible passage read that said that the love of money is the root of evil. And the same wisest man that ever lived, Solomon, said that all these are vanity. And then, you know, I think when you are never contented with the little you have, just like you're saying, when you borrow your shirt from your friend, you hide it. Why? Because your parents will question the fact, are you not contented with what I gave you? The shoe, don't you love it? They teach you that you need to be grateful with what you have. Just like I mentioned, the fact that we all have our timeline. When you're always greedy, you want to have everything by all means, no matter the level you go, no matter how risky it is. And you know, one thing with evil is that when you take one step, you are not contented. You want to do more. Because even when you kill one person to get maybe the eye or the lungs or whatever it is, you want to go further. And before you realize it, that you already hit your head, you're already deep into it, that you can't even come out of it. So I think we need to encourage the fact that you need to be contented, because it's not just about the teenagers, but I think even the movies we watch nowadays, you know, especially our Nollywood movies, you know, it seems as if we're encouraging this thing because you feel that the fastest way to make money is rituals.
Get rich quick
You get, and then so if I don't make it now, you feel like you don't have any time. So we need to learn to be contented, because I think greed is another thing that really make people to go out of their way to do things that are not acceptable, even in the society. And even if you're a Christian, even as a godly person, you know that, just like you mentioned, the fact that your morals, your conscience, what happened. Because the moment you get involved in this, you are beginning to kill the volume of your conscience. You no longer hear anything. Nobody even matters to you. Some people go to the extent of even killing their own blood, you know, their relatives, even their own self, harming their self just to make that money. Show you how evil it is. You have donated one of your kidney. Why? Because you want to maintain this high, you know, life standard. So I think we really need to encourage contentment.
Okay, I would like to read a comment from an entertainer, because just like I said, this thing is unbecoming and it's rampant. It's a trend now among the young ones. You know, they do rituals for some wealth or to get rich, and that get rich quick syndrome. And we've had a lot of Nigerians coming out, you know, to condemn the act and even fight against it. And I would like to read this because it's very deep. Over the weekend, and this person posted, and I would like to read. People will post 3 skits in a year and then post a house they just bought. People will appear in 2 movies, then post new me, new house. Thing is, we celebrate all types of questionable wealth. The church will take donation from anyone with money. The village will crown anyone with money. No questions asked. Families don't ask their children how they make their money, and some don't care. It is the society that feed this monster. Every day we are on different pages of people we know that cannot afford certain things, shouting God when, then come here to act surprised that people are doing evil to belong. Our society does not question source of anything. In most clubs, it is only bottle services. They don't sell cocktails or beer, or when other people order expensive drinks, music is shut down to deliver drinks to one person or the group. People will kill or commit crime to get such a treatment. Now, why I said this is deep. See, we've gotten to a level in the society where wealth is celebrated without being questioned. So like, you can wake up from being on this level. Tomorrow you can be flashy, extravagant, have everything you want, just wealthy, you know, living one level to the other, and people will not ask anything. There will be no questions, even from your family members. They will celebrate that, no, now you are wealthy. Depending on the morals of our backgrounds, though, there are parents that will definitely ask questions. You see, these are the things that entice young people to go into the quick money thing, get rich quick syndrome, because they feel they are being intimidated, or they feel they can do it. And because there is a collapse in morals in our homes, where parents don't even teach their words, you know, to stay away from this, or the love of money is evil, or there is time for everything, and this age is for you to be in school, or this age is for you to learn a trade, or this age is for you to be consistent with a skill that you've learned over time. There is no teaching, there are no teachings anymore on that. It's all about the money, it's all about having fancy cars, it's all about having the most expensive phones, and the society is changing that. We celebrate this act. Noble work that you are doing is seen as punishment, is seen as struggle, is seen as poverty. You that is a cleaner, you are doing those noble work, you know, you are humble, and you are seen as a trash, because there is no more dignity, because wealth is celebrated. When you are wealthy, when you have all these things, society will celebrate you. Just like the entertainer said, even the church will celebrate you. The church wants to see that when you give a fat offering, or when you give a fat tithe, or when there's a project and you are able to, you know, support them in a way, those are the people that are celebrated without questions on how this person is making his money. Is it the villages, you know, that give titles to people because, you know, of their wealth, extravagant lifestyle? Now the youth, these young people have seen over time how people are celebrated, and they feel they can get rich quick. And even the society is not helping them, because there's no dignity in labor. Just like you said, a humble person working for his own, earning a living, you know, is not worth anybody's attention. And these are the wrongs. This is a monster we've created in our society, that right now is becoming to be normalized that, okay, people go into this act. It was kidnapping. You know, people kidnapping people for ransom. We still have it in Nigeria. But there is this high rise now on ritual killings.
You know, just like you're saying, then it was kidnapping. I remember even back then it was all about child trafficking, even though it's still on right now. And then I think, just like you said, the quest for, you know, making it and wanting to be celebrated, not waiting for your time to reach. Just recently, I mean, looking at the story, I mean, it was in the newspaper, I think the past 2 weeks or so, the death of Hanifa in Kano. Even though her proprietor who killed her mentioned the fact that it was because she recognized him and he didn't want to be exposed, and that was why he killed her. But I think there is more to that, because looking at the steps he took by butcher, I don't know whether she was a cow or she was a chicken, and then all her body parts were, you know, mutilated, and then he put it in a bag and then he buried it. I believe there was more to that. Now, reason he was like, the school was going bankrupt and he needed money to rescue the school, and that was why he did that. Automatically, we were planning to sell her body parts, because I think the increase for the sale of body parts is increased now, because to sell a kidney is quite, you know, the money. And
Salad, you know, we have so many human body parts markets now. And recently I heard that even though it's a rumor, you know, there is no particular source that will say, okay, this is verified, that there is a human body parts market in Jos, Plateau State.
Joyce, I won't be surprised, you know, because the story was told of a man that always patronizes fuel station, and then there was this particular seller that is always, you know, he's the one always attending to that rich man. I was like, he has been admiring him for a very long time because of his car. He's always giving out money, you know. And the man said he took permission from the man and said he would like to show him something. And then he said, take a ride with me. And then he took him to his house, and then he asked his wife to give them to offer them something to eat. He was shocked that that rich man was offered live human parts. He was eating. And he was giving a normal, and then he was shocked. He wanted to scream. He said, it's because I'm regretting this, and that's why I'm allowing you to see this, and you will leave. Never in your life see any flashy thing and appear, because not all that glitters is gold. So this is what I have to keep doing to live. So you see, you just see people living a very flashy life, and you're like, I admire them, I love. Do you know what they have to pay to maintain that lifestyle? You don't know that you that is eating that little meal that you're eating, or that little shoe that is even more deep, because people are really living in hardship, in lots of abuse, but they don't know how to come out of it. And so we need to really, you know, add up our voice to say that, well, these things are evil, these things are ill, we need to correct this thing. Just like you say, it's becoming like it's a norm right now. People are beginning to see that it's a habit, it's normal.
And they don't even care about the consequences.
And people don't care, just like I said, because we are beginning to lose. We don't know, nobody has conscience anymore in this society. Because when you talk, they're like, it's because you don't have. When you talk, they're like, you're jealous. But we need to let people know that these things it's not normal. It's not normal.
You still wonder why there's a rush, you know, into this business, because I'll call it a business. There's a rush into it. Is it that the consequences, they don't even want to know what, you know, what are the effects on them, or even to their families and all. Just like you said, imagine this man, he needs to eat human parts maybe every day, you know, to sustain whatsoever rituals he did. There was a report too of, you know, now they call it the AWU Plus, of some young boys that they are not supposed to sleep in the night, they sleep only in the afternoon. So what they do is that they invite their friends to go clubbing every other day, so that, you know, they can stay awake. Then after that, when it's like dawn, then they start sleeping. People don't really know why people do some certain things or how they live a particular time. And there are some again that you have to disburse a particular amount of money, or there are some again that they back like a dog at a particular period. There's no specific period that you back. You can be maybe in a meeting you start backing, you can be just in the market you start backing. There are consequences to this, and there is the loss of life, or there is a request for more of this blood money. It was back then in Nigerian films, you always see the rituals, the blood money kind of movies, and, you know, we joke about it, but it's like people are now practicing what they see,
because you won't blame them. It's just like when you're talking about there's an increase of of violence around, it's because of the kind of video games kids play. Because already conscious or unconscious is getting to them. So I feel like even the movies, because when you go outside this country, I had the privilege of talking to someone, and he said the moment you mention Nigeria outside the country, we are being mentioned as blood money. That's what they see us to be, ritualists, witches, and wizards. That's all we do. Why? Because they feel that whatever we depict in our movies, that is the kind of lifestyle we live. So sometimes you actually think that maybe it's because of what we're watching, and then we think it's a norm, it's normal. You want to rub shoulders with the big boys and the big girls. You don't care what it will cost you, if it means for you to back, if it means for just like within the week. I mean, there was a video of some Yahoo guys that were seeing very disgusting video, feeding on their physics. It's just why? Because they need to maintain the source of their money, and only God knows what else they have to do to maintain that wealth. So we need to really add up our voice to say that these things are evil. Yes, people are losing their conscience, but then we need to come back to being normal again, because I think lots of people will need to visit the mental hospital, because it's something that's with your mentality. Because when they go to whoever the ritual is that help them to will I say renew those vows that they make, there are things they need to do, and after that you don't expect he or she to come out being normal. So I think even the mental checkup needs to be done on them, because it's really a very sad story that people are beginning to see that ritual is a thing that should be normal, and we really need to add up our voice and say no to this thing, no matter how it looks recruitive, as if it's a good business, but it's not.
There are a lot of instances of victims of these ritual killings, or even the perpetrators, and I would like to mention them so that people will understand, people will know. The media is doing a great job, but there are times that we get it wrong. We try to hide these people as if they didn't know when they were committing this crime that it was wrong. They try to shield them, hide them, even take their cases back. At the end of the day, you don't even hear anything about it. But it's very important for us to bring up these instances and even talk about it. Of recent, there was the arrest of a 70-year-old with is he 18 and another 20. 4 of them, and the boyfriend of the lady, Saliu, they were all arrested because is it the gateman or the security man in the compound raised alarm that he felt they were burning like human parts in the compound. Then the police came and arrested them. What happened was that one of the guys is the boyfriend to the lady that was killed. He lured her to the apartment or to the location where she was killed, and the 3 of his friends were accomplices, and they killed her, burnt her head for ritual purposes. You see, this is so sad. Imagine the age 17, 18 and 20 years old. You'll be wondering, what is it that they really want to have? Is it a case of Miss Omoren, because of looking for a job, she was taken to another location by Uduak Akpan, who invited her via Twitter. She posted that she was looking for a job. Then he invited her over to his house, and he raped her and killed her and buried her in a shallow grave. Then at the end of the day, he was apprehended. We heard that he pleaded guilty, then later not guilty, and back on the
sometimes they always have the fact that they have someone that they are working for. Even if they are arrested, they'll be bailed out.
And Sela, it was mentioned that there were a lot of these shallow graves in his compound. So many of these cases, and at the end of the day, it is not followed through to the end to really know. It's as if it's being covered, or it's as if Nigerians don't deserve to know whatsoever is happening. Then we have a case in Kwara State where a neighbor killed his own neighbor, groom to be. He didn't even know that. This man didn't even know that, okay, his neighbor has served 2 jail terms, of this same act of ritual killings, of every other thing. And at the end of the day, he killed him. And his wedding was upcoming. But at the end of the day, he died. This is a neighbor, and you don't even know what business he's into. It's so sad that we don't even trust each other right now in Nigeria. We're scared. Even commercial drivers, they bring out their cars, take people by the junction or by the roads, and before you know, they are being kidnapped for ritual purposes. Is it the lovers luring their victims, you know, or their girlfriends or their boyfriends, most especially girlfriends, to a location where other people will kill them. We've heard of the case of Miss Jennifer, where Moses Oko, you know, was involved, and we are still waiting for the update, even though the other day we reported that he was apprehended and he's claiming to be unstable, mentally unstable. Even his family are claiming that he's mentally unstable. You know, there are so many challenges, and you talked about ignorance, where you envy somebody's lifestyle, not knowing what he's into actually. And this is more like what the young people now are into. They just see people living a lifestyle and they feel, okay, you know, they don't want to work, they want to get this money, you know, to live the same lifestyle because they are so extravagant, and they have this urge for a better lifestyle. Or is it now people cover up with so many other things? You know, there are people that say, okay, they are social media comedians, but you don't really know what they are into. They will do, like this entertainer said, they will do 1 video, 2 videos, and before you know, they are buying a house. It was drug trafficking before, but now it's rituals. Or is he one person featuring in a movie? You know, just one movie. How much are you being paid in that movie? Then the next day, the person is buying duplex or traveling around the world. Oh, so many of these.
And the problem is that we don't even ask questions about all the celebrities that you say you are envying their lifestyle, because most of these celebrity lives on debt, because they have lots of people that are owing them and they need to pay. But you are not even aware that today they'll just go and rent this car, and after 2 weeks they will return the car and get another one. So we really need to know that.
Or is it the music videos? You know, where they rent flashy cars to do the music videos,
and then you say that you want to be like them. Just like we really need to encourage the fact that hard work has never killed anyone. We need to be hardworking youths. Here we are shouting that things are not working well in our country for us, while we are here going for quick money. We need to know that we need to be hardworking people, and we need to know that timeline is not. I'll keep emphasizing the fact that we have different timelines. The earlier you realize that the fact that Jennifer is making it doesn't mean that you, Cynthia, you will make it the same time. If you are working and you are sure that what you're doing is a legitimate business, for sure that money that you are making through that legitimate business, we will definitely blow it, because that's the word we want to blow. I don't know where you want to blow to, but the fact is that if you want to blow, you will blow, but blow in the right way, blow in the right direction. Your friends, when you see them reading, ask questions, because we don't ask. You just want to, you know, jump into conclusion and know that, okay, this is how things are done, and I want to make it. I want to drive this car. When it's time for you to drive this car, you will definitely know. I know people, when you talk to them, you won't understand the pressure. You will not understand what I'm going through. Do you know that my friend has this, and we graduated the same, and I was more brilliant? Yes, it will be painful, but one thing I know is that, and I've realized over time, is that when you truly honor God in everything you do, He will honor you back. It might take a very long while, but definitely He will do it. And another thing with God is that when He blesses you, like, it's for a long while, because the enemy will never give you something and then He will take something in return.
You see, the love of God is just straightforward. He doesn't give you one thing and expect the other in return. But you know, with the devil or with Satan, there are so many of his strategies that he will definitely give, and you will definitely repay it, even with death, even with so many of these consequences. Well, before we continue on this discussion, I would like us to take a break, and I just want to tell our viewers that we are live on Facebook at Equa Television, and also on YouTube, where you can drop in your comment. This topic is very important and is timely. We want you to lend your voices too. Let's hear from you, from your comments on Facebook. We will read it live here in the studio. Let's take a break. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. This is still today's live on Equa Television Africa, and we are talking money hunting, and our focus today is the spate of ritual killings for different purposes, for the quest for wealth. And my name is Joyce. I have Sele in the studio with me. Sele, as we were saying, we were talking about some instances, you know, of ritual killings where young boys were involved in it. We mentioned Moses Oko. We mentioned some 3 boys that were apprehended and arrested on Saturday, that's 29th of January in Kwara State, and so many of that. There was another instance of a guy that engaged a girl to get married in one of the western states in Nigeria. He engaged her to get married, and he came to the house, picked her up, that he wanted her to meet his own family. Then along the road, he took her somewhere in a bush, and thank God that she overheard some of the conversations he made, because she started suspecting him along the way. Then he took her to a shrine where she was supposed to be slaughtered, and she met every other and so many other people there. But at the end of the day, by God's grace, she escaped the coven, and she came back to testify that this was what happened to her. Imagine that she wasn't alive to come back. You know, she was killed to testify.
To share this story.
Maybe he will come back with so many stories, like how she was kidnapped or how they were attacked on the road. Maybe he will even harm himself, you know, to even make it believable, to look believable. I just feel people do terrible things for things that are vanity, for things that this wealth, you can't even take it after life. This wealth, you that is killing someone, how do you know they are not dying the next day? How do you know you will live to even enjoy this thing? Just like I said the other day, when people look at people and see money in them, or you look at someone and feel, okay, he should be kidnapped for one thing or the other. This money hunting trend is getting out of hand, that we don't even celebrate dignity at all.
You're right, Joyce. We really don't celebrate dignity, because I think, like, being a decent person, people see you like you're being old school. And you know, I always tell people that it's better they call you old school, but you know you're doing the right thing. You know, the lust of the eye is something that most of us are falling, and one of it is why people go into, you know, ritual. Just when I think last week in Jos here, we had the case of Samson Eze that was discovered that he killed about 2 one motorcycle owner and 2 tricycle owners just to get their possession, and then dumped their body in a sockaway, uncompleted building. Now I believe that is beyond the possession that he collected, because I believe that body parts, or the body he kept there, was for a reason. And it's sad, because the people he killed are even married men that had families that were looking up to them, people who, because of the dignity of labor, wanted to make
a living for themselves,
so that they can fend for their family. And how old was Samson? 31, you know, still within that youthful age that you could use your strength to add to the society and be someone positive. But we've decided that we want to look for the easy way out of life. The truth is that there's no easy way out of it. Even the killing you have to do is hard work on its own. So why don't you go for something that is more noble, something that you can beat your chest and say, yes, I know that I got this money through a decent business, I know I got this money through a decent living. But no, people prefer that the option for something that is more dirty, something that is more, you know, something that people will just see you at once and say that you are flashy. Let's know that even in environment, you mentioned the fact that of the neighbor that killed, you know, we are not vigilant enough. And I think it's another thing that, apart from the people who do rituals, we that are not into it, I think it's something we need to also be very careful, be very sensitive. Because if you're not sensitive, you can fall prey to these people, because you need to be attentive, you need to check your environment, you need to know who is your neighbor, you need to know even the car you're using, who are the people around, phone calls. Yes, I'm not saying or encouraging that, you know, you listen to people's conversation, but then you need to be very attentive, because the cost of it is high. No matter what we say now, if people are not disciplined enough, we cannot motivate somebody to do the right thing. You need to be disciplined enough to know that this way is not the right way. I need to go for something that is more proper. I need to go for something that is more right. With that, you can stand before your parents and stand before anybody and say that, yes, I got this one through legitimate business.
Very true. We have a comment on Facebook, and this is coming from Emmanuel I. He says, God's time is always the best, and I agree solely with him, because just like you mentioned earlier, there is time for everything. You should wait. Just because you feel you are being delayed doesn't mean that you'll be denied at the end of the day. It's just a process that you have to go through. Well, we are still talking the causes of this the spate of ritual killings in Nigeria, and I want to mention one, which is lack of adequate punishment. And impunity encourages ritualists to commit murders because they believe they will not be apprehended or punished, and timely arrest and prosecution of arrested suspects will serve as a deterrent to anyone contemplating perpetrating ritual killings. Record of successful prosecution of ritualists is not in the public domain. Where there are no consequences for deviant behavior, it is incentivized. What does this mean? It may, just like I mentioned earlier, there are people that have been arrested, and over time we don't get to hear about their punishment or what happened at the end of the day, because there is a lack of adequate punishment. What is the law saying about murder? I think that should be the same thing, you know, and this one is for a purpose at the end of the day, and it's not like it's self-defense. No, you carry it out in your right senses. You planned it. It's a strategy. I think there should be a law on it that, okay, if you are caught doing this, you will be punished, and the public will know. You know, when public know that this is the right punishment for this act, there are some people that their conscience will be pricked to know that, okay, no, I cannot do this because I will be arrested, I will be apprehended, and I will serve the punishment. But at the end of the day, where you are just giving some terms, you know, maybe jail terms, and you'll be out, just like that neighbor that killed his neighbor. He served 2 jail terms in prison, and at the end of the day, he was out, and he committed another one. He killed another person for ritual purposes. He did not learn anything, and maybe he did it feeling, okay, even if I'm being caught, you know, there's a time limit that will be out, and I will still go ahead with it. When people know that, okay, there's a particular punishment without any excuse of mentally unstable. No, why are you claiming mentally unstable when we saw you, you know, we saw videos of you very stable in the video with your girlfriend driving, and a mentally unstable person cannot drive? I don't think so. Even if it comes on and off, I don't think your parents will allow you to drive, you know, even at that age, and you being mentally unstable. You should have been in the psychiatric hospital a long time ago. But these are claims that come out so that, you know, the justice system will be a bit mild on the person. We have so many of these instances,
and I think another thing, Joy, is apart from lack of will I say punishment, I think another thing is parenting, because everything starts from the family. I believe, you know, when the small child does something and the parents be like, no, leave him, leave her, she's still a child. You don't follow up and see the way these kids grow up and how they turn out to be. And that's why we see that in other developing countries, they will say someone is having a session, anger management. Why don't we have another session that will look into people's mental health? Because lots of people, I believe it's from your mentality. Yes, when you're mentally unstable, you cannot drive. But some people, even though it's a claim, I believe, just to, you know, dodge, permit me to use that word, just so that I be permitted.
You can't eat your cake and still have
you get, just so that you not be punished, or even if you're punished.
This is somebody's child that you killed.
How will you get to pay for that? You know, I really think that we really need to look into the family, because I believe everything starts from the family. We can't keep blaming, you can't keep blaming the society, you can't keep blaming social media, even though I know it plays a role because you see lots of flashy kids, flashy things. But I think we should start from the family. What are the conversations parents have with their words? Just like you say, back then when you bring a friend, they question you, what do we do? You know, the other day I was laughing at a woman that said that presently she's have her daughter's friend on Facebook, because she needs to know who are the friends that are following her daughter. Yes, it might look as if she's being, you know, too, I say she's trying to be too connected to her daughter, but it's a way of checkmating what your kids are doing, what they are posting. When your child posts something, you ask, why are you posting this? You see him posting something strange, you ask questions. But we don't ask questions anymore. You just see things and, you know, just give it a mild face and then like permit things. We really need to look into
like there
things.
Are children that have phones that before they in every of their social media, they are not friends with their own parents, or they even block them before posting. I think when a child does this, he doesn't deserve that phone. because there's something that the child is hiding. What is it that you're hiding from me? If you think it's proper, I don't think you will block me before posting that thing. That means what I've taught you along the way, you know, you are not taking it to heart. You're not even learning from it. You have to block me. You have to, you know, remove me from your friend list or whatsoever, or unfriend me, so that you have a different lifestyle on social media. Is wrong. Do you know there are so many of these moral instances back then that cannot even be compared to now. Back then, you dare not do some things that your parents will even see or hear of. Even your neighbor seeing it, your neighbor will beat you black and blue. But now the neighbors will even see, because you can't even touch your neighbor's child, because the parent will come out and accuse you. Or arrest you, you know, of disciplining the child, or inflicting pains on the child, and so many others. And we've allowed a lot of liberty, lot of freedom, that at some certain age, the child has a phone, he has data, and he has access to all these things online, and he sees things, he hears things, he sees where people go to the movie, get paid for one particular thing, or the person is even unpopular, but he's living that big lifestyle, and what have you. Like I was saying about timely arrest and prosecution of arrested suspect, this will serve, you know, as a lesson to so many other people. When someone is being arrested, I think the investigation should be a bit faster, like more effort should be put in it. Let the investigation go properly. Let the questioning go very fast. Let everything be done properly, so that people will see that, okay, there is a plan for prosecution of this perpetrator. And at the end of the day, if the person is punished, or when the person is punished, you know, let the general public also know. Let it be updated. Let it go round the media houses, go round the dailies, that this is the punishment for this particular thing. You know, we have different countries that their punishment is death, their punishment is life imprisonment, so many of these punishment, but we don't know what is it for in Nigeria particularly, even though we know the punishment for murder and the rest. But want to know all these things because it's a trend. Just like we said earlier, it's a trend. We need to know the punishment too.
And then because I think another thing, even though I know it's happening in every other country, but I believe it's more high in developing countries, because people feel that they blame the government for unemployment and so poverty because I'm poor, you know, I had to look for a way out. The government is not giving me. But what are you doing? Just like I said, you are strong, you are healthy. Can't you think? You have a brain. What else can you do?
Are we not in the same country?
Well, we are in the same country, but yet there are other people that prefer, why don't I go learn mechanic work? Why don't I learn how to be a vulcanizer? Why can't I learn something that I know that, yes, even though the money is coming little, but you can add up to your, you know, there's this joy that when you know there's even bread you bought at home, like everybody's eating, you'll be excited that you bought that bread, no matter how little it is. But and another thing I think I need to add is the fact that I said pressure. We need to learn how to, absorb pressure. Because no matter what you do, whether you do good or evil, people will talk. So why are we more concerned about what people will say because you don't have it now? If you feel like going for that family meeting will put so much pressure on you, avoid the family meeting. If that will make you to do the right thing. You might look very drastic, but then you are taking a drastic action to do the right thing. You are helping your emotions too, because lots of people, even emotional intelligence is lacking. Because some people don't even have to manage their emotions. So before you realize it, okay, I'm poor and I was insulted. This is what I'll do. How can I go and make quick money so that I'll be celebrated too? So in church, when they are praying for the rich people, they will also mention your name. Just like we said, even in our churches and even in back then in our villages, all the people that have money and the poor people say, so they are only mentioning people who are rich. They are praying for them. Let me also look for a way that I'll be rich, so that I'll be prayed for, so I'll be given the front seat. So I think we also look into the family. We also have to look at our religious organizations or religious places where we can also get, because where we are expected to get joy and comfort is where we're also getting pressure from. And
you know, this pressure also can come from your friends. You know yourself, you know who to mingle with, but you choose to mingle with the people that you don't even know what their business is about. Before long, you'll be introduced to it, because these people that are doing this thing, they won't want you as a freeloader around them. You are just there to eat their own wealth. You are just there to eat from their labor. No, they will introduce you because you need to fish again. That's what we've always been talking about: shielding your heart, guarding your sight. see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. All these things we've been preaching on this show, so that you can avoid some things bringing sorrow to your life. Well, before we continue, we have more messages on Facebook. We have comments on Facebook, and I would like to take this one is from Favor Timothy. We should learn to trust and believe God and be happy with what you have. Thank you, Miss Favor Timothy. We have from Lalas Ali. She says the youths of today are desperate to make money by all means, which leads to joining different groups such as the Yahoo Plus, secret societies, and what have you. When you are contented with the little you have, the Lord will bless you. Thank you, Lalas. And this is coming from Marafa Usman Mari. God's time is the best. First, the kingdom of God, and all things will be added to you. These are some of the comments on our Facebook page today. If you are still watching, you can drop in your comments, because we desperately need you to lend your voice and stop this. And also for the parents of the victims, you know, that perpetrators of this, I don't think they need to hide it when things happen, because before long, you that is hiding this person that is committing this ritual, before you know, you'll be a victim, because it's easier for you to be a target, for him to go out and look for. No, he will look at you as a target, because you've been shielding his own, you know, unnecessary behaviors, bad behaviors, and, you know, some acts that he has been coming off with at home. You will be the next person. Well, going forward, I would like us to talk about the effects now of these ritual killings, you know, in the society. And one is the conscience of Nigerians being troubled by reports of recent ritual murders. What do I mean? There are graphic pictures. There are some pictures or bodies that will be found that vitals are removed, and they are being put out there in the media, or some even witness them, some see them on the road, and or it affects us as Nigerians. It troubles us as Nigerians. Even when we hear, okay, it's like reading the daily's newspaper every day. Every other day you hear of these stories on the paper. You're wondering what is happening in this country. Is it that we don't have rule of law? Is it that we don't have a law? We don't have a justice system? Or is it that we don't even have decent youth anymore? You know, you are scared of the next generation. You are scared of even entrusting your whatsoever inheritance, your wealth, even your morals to the next generation, and it has an effect on the conscience.
It really has an effect, just like you said. The moment you're putting on your TV, like, it really has, and just like I said, it has caused lots of trauma for lots of people, because you go and then you have nightmares on all these things you do. Our mental health has been affected as a result of all this, because no young child, or not even an adult, will see such, you know, such things happening, and then you expect the person to still be insane. So I really think that we really need to look into controlling this thing. Just like I said, it starts from the family. We really need to look into it. As a family, what are you doing? Are you questioning your what they do, where they go, who are their friends? Because when you keep quiet, that means you're encouraging whatever evil that is happening. And looking at the side effect it's having on other people is something I really think we really need to look into it, because we can't keep quiet. And that's why we have a platform like this to express. We can't keep quiet when you see things like this are happening. So we really, really need to wake up. Not just as a family, but even as a society, to things that are happening like this. What can you do? What role can you play on your own part? What can you do to see that your environment is safe? Even though you can't stop people, you don't have a control over people's action, but you have a control over your reactions. So we really need to look into how we can be disciplined.
And another effect is our reputation as Nigerians to other countries.
Exactly.
See, we've been classified already as one of the highest in corruption. We've been classified as one of the highest facing terrorism in Nigeria. Now we are talking ritual killings, and it's gradually growing with speed. Other countries will hear about it. Other countries will. There are some that are already a victim here in Nigeria. See, our reputation is being tainted in a way that Nigeria will be looked at not just as a corrupt country, but as a country where killings are done at free will.
And it's permitted.
And it's permitted because there's no proper justice. And even though, yes, most of the security agencies are trying in arresting these perpetrators and bringing them to book. But just like I said, want to see a follow-through, want to see a follow-up, and want to know what the federal government, what their stand is on this. Well, before we go on with the thoughts, we have another comment on Facebook. And this also from Emmanuel Aye. He says, I'm watching live from Ghana, and this goes on here too. It's not easy for the youth in Africa as well. There is no work for them, and government don't even mind the youth. They are greedy, and it's sad on that. There is no work though, and the government don't even listen to the people no more. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. But I would like to say that is not justifiable.
Yeah.
We talked about economic hardship, we talked about poverty, but just because you are going through that doesn't mean you should kill another soul. You should kill another person, for your selfish, interest, for your selfish gain, which is rituals at the end of the day. Imagine your own child being killed in this particular way. That person, you are killing somebody's child. You are killing a future. You are killing. There are some that even, just like I said, they love us, that lure their own lovers to be killed. Did you even love this person at the end of the day, or from the beginning?
It's sad that even in the family it happens. People kill their mother, people kill their siblings, people do lots of things. And that's why when the Bible says that the love of one is the root of all evil, because people can go to high and below to do whatever it takes. And that's why we really need to encourage the fact that people need to really work on their psyche, pressure, be around the positive vibes, be around vibes that will make you to bring out good results out of you. If you're having a weak point, what can you use your weakness for, rather than turning it to be something that will be, cause harm to other people around? People are really losing it when it comes to being mentally stable. Lots of people are not mentally stable. Yes, they can be walking, they can be driving, but lots of people need help. And this is a call out for help. Lots of people need help, because this is not just, we cannot just say it's normal. Yes, we're having Emmanuel from Ghana saying that it's happening everywhere. And like I said, yes, it's happening everywhere. But you mentioned the fact here that our reputation, a lot of investors can even so we need to look into the fact that we need help. We really need help. If you think that you're around the wrong company, change your company if it will help you. Seriously.
People can be too careful, because there are people that pretend, to be your friends. There are people that pretend to be your lover. And just from the instances that we read out, or we analyzed on the show today, you see that it's based on trust that people are killed. One, from relationship, luring a girlfriend, to a place where she'll be killed. It's based on trust. I trusted you. I trusted you to be in a relationship with you, and you are taking me to be killed. Even the other one that engaged his girlfriend, that's wife to be, Sele, is based on trust.
So you can't just be too
careful. You can't just be too careful. But you should know that the love of money, just like I read in 1 Timothy 6, it brings, there are people that do crazy things that bring sorrow to them, to their life, to themselves, and there are consequences to all these things. You cannot dine with the devil and go scot-free. No. I think before you even go through this thing, you should ask the people that have been through it. How is it? Forget about the flashy lifestyle they are living. There are so many things involved in it. We've had so many, like I said earlier, so many people going into other things to cover the main business they are doing. Their business is ritual killings, but they go into the movies, they go into other things, so that these other ones can cover it up. Well, we have another comment on Facebook, and I would like to take this coming from Frodima Gift. Contentment is something every youth should put before him or her, and we shouldn't feel oppressed by what others do because we don't know how they did it. That's the source. And parents have a big role to play. Peer pressure is one factor that influences our youth. So parents should question the way of their children. The government too should step in, creating job opportunities and fight crimes too. Thank you very much for your comments on Facebook, and that is all the comments we'll be taking on the show today. But in case you just join in and you want to follow up the conversation, you can watch it on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also drop your comment, because we'll definitely pick it on subsequent show. This episode, this topic is not going to end just for today. We'll see how we can elongate it so that we can discuss more on other money hunting strategies and even issues in Nigeria. Sele, before we go, I would like you to advise the young boys that are contemplating these ritual killings. I would like to also to advise parents, you know, to do the needful.
I think my advice to the youth there, whether you're a male or a female, is that what does it profit a man when he gains the whole world and loses his soul at the end of it? I think it's really something we really need to take into cognizance, that what it won't gain anything. I mean, the Bible said that we'll seek ye first the kingdom of God and every other thing shall be added unto you. And to our parents out there, my word of advice is that make sure you always cross-check with your words. Listen to them when they want to talk to you, and even when they don't want to talk to you, create the avenue, create the space. They can make themselves free to you and also relate, and you can advise them in the right way. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he or she should go, and when he grows up, he will never depart from it. That doesn't mean that they will not, you know, derail, but then because of the word you have planted in them, they will always come back to the path of righteousness.
Thank you, Sele, for those beautiful words. Well, it has been today's live on Ekwa Television Africa. That was Sele, and I am Joyce. I would like to leave you with this. These are more of recommendations, which I think we should take them seriously. The high incidence of serial ritual killings in Nigeria demands an urgent action at the level of government. The president must address the spate of ritual killings in Nigeria. Just as every other crime is, you know, important to be addressed, the crime of banditry, terrorism, the crime, even the corruption that's graft, so many of these crimes, ritual killings should be part of it, and it should attract the attention of the government, the federal government, attract the attention of the president of Nigeria, so that he can address this and put an end to it. And for parents and guardians, be responsible and sensitive to your words and to your children. This is very important because the world is changing, and these children are going into acts that are questionable. They are 17, 18, 20. Or even less, and they are going into this act. Please, parents, be sensitive to your children and protect them. Bring them under your roof and discipline them with morals, good morals that should be instilled in them. And for the young boys, just like Sele said, there's time for everything. Quick money is not the way out. And this is our advice on Ekwa Television today's live. We stand to condemn ritual killings in Nigeria. Thank you very much for watching this episode. For everyone that commented on Facebook, we really appreciate you, and your comments are important to us. And to the Ekwa executive, thank you for giving us this platform to bring the gospel of Christ to the world. And the general manager is out on official duties, but we pray he'll be back in good health to join us on today's live. Thank you for watching. See ya.